Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Old Donyo here in Kenya. We have a huge elephant bull that has joined us on a nice cloudy day in Kenya. My name is Kerry Dupree, and I will be your naturalist presenter for the afternoons live at the waterhole. What a magnificent way to start this thirsty Thursday with this beautiful elephant bull. So, just a reminder, folks, that this is a live and interactive show. So, please feel free to join in the conversation. Send me through those questions and comments. You can head across to the Twitter or X, use your app, or go across to YouTube. Don't forget to use the hashtag, or you can scan the QR code on screen now to send through those questions. Tell me how your Thursday's gone. What's your favorite part of the live safaris for the week? What are you hoping to see this afternoon at Live at the Waterhole? We had a lovely day yesterday at our locations. Lots of elephant mud baths. It was great to see those elephants at Tau Lodge having a nice muddy, I wouldn't even say swim because it was more like just dredging through the mud, these elephants at Tower Lodge, trying to feed on some nice green vegetation. With our dry season upon us, green food is sparse, so they were really enjoying themselves. A few nice big bowls. Just like this big elephant bull is enjoying himself here at Poldonio over in Kenya. Looks like a nice cool day, I must say. Quite a few bit of cloud cover here in Kenya today. Same as in Johannesburg. I was suspecting there might be some rain yesterday afternoon. There was a bit of cloud build-up, some cumulonimbusy clouds. A bit of a system looked like it was coming our way. It's a bit windy today over in Johannesburg, but nice and warm. Sun is out, the sun is shining, so I think we're in for another nice sunny summer day. Lovely to see a couple of helmeted guinea fowl here at the pan as well. Also having a great time coming down for an afternoon drink. All right, folks, sorry, we're having a bit of a difficulty with our feed here over in Oldonyo. Why don't we link across to Juma and see what is happening in the Sabi Sands? So it looks like another sunny day in Juma. Here are our blacksmith plovers chirping away. Watched a pretty cool video today from, where was it? It must have been somewhere in the Kruger, on the latest Kruger sightings of a leopard trying to get to a buffalo that was in a pan. It's quite an interesting video. This leopard is known for swimming. I'm not sure which one it was, but obviously it was probably in the northern part of Kruger. And yeah, poor buffalo obviously had died in a watering hole, could have gotten stuck in the treacherous mud that a lot of these pans are filled with at the moment. And this leopard took a chance to possibly try and go and have a bit of an easy meal. But I think the thought of being chomped by a crocodile took fear into this, but he ended up leaving the buffalo be in the middle of the watering hole. Perfect place for wild dogs to hunt as well. Watched got some Egyptian geese here, also in the pan. I can't believe how dry Juma pan is at the moment. So yeah, warthogs. This is a perfect place for warthogs to come for a nice mud bath And wild dogs really love to use these small pans as a bit of a vantage point. While hunting, they'll chase animals into the mud and water, use it as a bit of a advantage to them, and eventually when the animal comes out like kudu or impala, then that's when they will capitalize on a kill. Amazing documentaries just come out about wild dogs in the Okavango Delta. It's one of the places with the most wild dogs, biggest packs of wild dogs, to 63 individuals. Isn't that crazy? So just as I mentioned, we've got some warthogs that have come down to the Juma Pan this afternoon, Juma Dam. Elephants also coming and enjoying themselves, having a nice mud bath for the afternoon. Catherine, good to hear that you are having a great Thursday, and yeah, excited about your Kenya trip coming ahead. All the best, safe travels, and I hope you get some incredible sightings, Catherine. We will miss you here on the live shows as well as live at the waterhole, but I hope you enjoy your next safari. Fuzzy Dunlop, happy Thirsty Thursday. It definitely is a thirsty Thursday, and the elephants sure are thirsty today, I must say. Perfect time of year for the elephants to come and visit all these watering holes and pans in the middle of the day while they have a lovely, refreshing mud bath. Ian, great to hear from you. Thank you for joining us as well. Yes, it is nice to be able to start the show with some big elephant bull and some helmeted guinea fowl over in Old Donyo. Oh, this elephant bull's giving a bit of a head shake there. He's just full of himself, showing off his stuff. Unfortunately, our camera at Aldonio has been a little bit unstable lately, so we will get to Aldonio when we do have a chance, but for now the feed seems to be quite unstable over in Kenya. Aldonio. Sounds rather windy at Juma this afternoon, I must say. You can hear that wind billowing away. So, Jamie, thank you for your question regarding the leopard going for a buffalo. So, yeah, it is quite common for uncommon for a leopard to hunt buffalo. It's kind of out of their prey species. Yeah, buffaloes are more preyed upon by lions, and in recent years they've discovered wild dogs have actually started hunting buffalo as well. If you get a big enough pack of wild dogs, I've seen some videos in the Okavango Delta and in Mana Pools, so that's in Botswana and Zimbabwe, videos of big packs of wild dogs actually hunting buffalo. So what they'll do is they will chase the big herds of buffalo and try to their best to separate a female and a youngster or the old females or old bulls, and tire them out. Yeah, it's pretty crazy to think of wild dogs actually hunting buffalo. They're very big buffalo and quite have a bit of a bad attitude at times. So yeah, I was actually just watching a documentary yesterday on Netflix, and yeah, these buffalo were not taking any nonsense from the wild dogs at all. It was an old cow, buffalo cow, and she was, yeah, definitely chasing after the wild dogs. So it was not a successful hunt, but it's even more rare for leopards to actually hunt buffalo. They're just way too big, way too strong and powerful for a leopard. The more appropriate prey species for a leopard would be your obviously impala, nyala, your smaller antelope, warthog, steenbok, common duiker, and kind of baboons at times. I know leopards do like to prey on baboons, and if they are really desperate for a meal. I won't say it is a preferred meal, but it's one of those out of desperation. Okay, guess there's nothing else to eat. We'll get a baboon then. But I have seen videos of leopards also hunting for fish, which is pretty cool. So in dry pans, again, in very hard times, predators will actually eat quite a variety of different foods, even ground nesting birds, eggs, insects, and of course, like I mentioned, fish. So they will need to substitute their diet, especially smaller predators. They will learn to hunt on smaller prey like guinea fowl, francolin, and of course hares. Very good little way to test a young predator like a young lion or leopard. Try and hunt smaller prey items. Elephants have enjoyed themselves down at the watering hole. Now they're having a bit of a munch while they're taking some shade under these beautiful jackalberry trees. All right, why don't we head over to Namibia, see what's happening at Okakuyu. Welcome to Okakuyu here in Namibia, folks. We have some more elephants. Also having a bit of a pool party, and I think there's two Egyptian geese also swimming in the middle of the pan. Some oryx roaming around at the back there, and some springbok. Why don't we have a bit of a quiet moment, folks, to just listen to these elephants? I feel like they're going to be quite vocal. Hopefully, they'll have a pool party soon. awesome to watch these elephants and all the pool parties that we've been having lately. So it must be quite hot at some of our locations. Because we've been having a lot of elephant pool parties and a lot of elephants mud bathing as well, which is always delightful to watch. I love watching the babies. The females, I find, don't swim as much. The little ones kind of stick closer to their mothers as they experiment and swim, and it looks like they're almost drowning or half drowned rats. So it's quite cute to watch them. And of course, the bulls, elephant bulls, it's like they kind of get brought back to their childhood when they start playing around in the mud. So So, Catherine, thank you for your comment about the Jeki pack of wild dogs in the Lower Zambezi, which are famous for hunting buffalo. Yeah, I've seen some videos recently. They've been hunting a lot of buffalo lately. And even though, yeah, this is also from Catherine. So, yeah, thank you. So, even though it's only 10 adults at the moment, apparently they are still managing to bring down some wild. The dogs are bringing down these buffalo, which is pretty crazy to think about. It's just insane. They've become these very accurate hunters or very specialized in hunting buffalo. I just can't believe in the Delta, the packs of wild dogs you get there. 26 to 36 individuals in one pack. I just think that's a lot of food that you must be them. They must be able to have to hunt every day to feed all those individuals, all those adults, and if they have a den with pups, oof, it's a very hard job for wild dogs to keep all those bellies full, but they managed to be quite successful. Very good apex predators, wild dogs. Obviously, they are one of the most endangered predators in Africa. So, all the painted dog conservation projects that we have all over Africa are very much crucial to kind of saving this species of wild dogs in Africa. So, Lady Macbeth, definitely agree with you there. That big elephant bull at Juma was definitely full of swagger. I guess he must be going into must. Testosterone levels are a bit high, and he's just feeling himself today. He's feeling very good in himself. All right, so why don't we go to Ngoro Pan and see what some other elephants are doing in another part of South Africa? So we have another elephant pool party here in the Greater Kruger and in Coral Pan. So let's just have a bit of a quiet moment to enjoy these elephants swimming and having the best time. Look at this elephant with his stick. He's found a stick and he's having a great time playing with this stick. Now looks like he wants to have a bit of a nibble on his stick too. Listen to these elephants. Isn't that awesome, hearing that rumbling sound of these elephants playing? Also got some cattle egrets coming to join. Hopefully I'll come to the watering hole just now. Coming to feed off some of the disturbed insects and the elephants roaming around. Catherine, I agree with you there. Elephants swimming in the water are just like little kids swimming in a pool. It's nothing better watching two elephant bulls fighting while having a lovely pool party. Just love hearing the sounds of these elephants murmuring, grumbling, and rumbling to one another. So just a bit of an update from our live safaris, folks. So over in Juma, we have Eric, who had a also pretty cool elephant bull, breaking some branches and feeding on some interesting bush willow roots, which is always very interesting. Nick was also joining on the live safari. So Nick Newman will be actually joining from Newman's Bird Book. Will actually be joining on the live drives today and tomorrow. So he's visiting Juma at the moment. So very exciting to have the one and only Nick Newman joining on the drive. We will be having a discount code. If anyone wants to buy the app, there will be a 10% discount code, which you can check out on the Wild Earth website, or I will also put it up on my Instagram. You can go and have a look-see. Use a discount code to get the Newman's app, which is awesome. I'm oh, Oh, sorry, that was just an interesting sound of that elephant trumpeting. So yeah, about the Newman's birding app. that you can download. It will be on our Twitter, so you can go and check out for the discount code on Twitter. I'm really excited. A new birding app that we can use. I know the Newman birding app is very well renowned to be one of the top birding apps in South Africa, or for Africa actually. So it's kind of always a competition between the Newman's birding app and Sasol. So yeah, very, very excited. I'm dying to get my app downloaded, but just a heads up for when you do the download, it does take quite a bit of Wi-Fi. So for example, I know when I go out to camps, I always update my birding apps and birding books. So like, for example, Catherine or anyone else who's about to travel, if you want to get your birding app ready before you leave, just make sure you download it on your good Wi-Fi at home, because often when you arrive on safari in camps, the Wi-Fi in the camps are not good enough. And the last thing you want to be worrying about while on safari is trying to download your packs for the specific country. So that's what I always suggest to clients before going on safari. Always make sure you have the correct packs for the correct countries before you actually leave on safari. And the Newman's birding app is definitely a very useful tool while out in the field. And you've got the option of getting the Newman's bird by color, which is also very, very useful. Very useful little key that can help you if you are a beginner birder, just getting into birding, trying to figure out how birds work. This bird by color feature is a very useful tool. So yeah, super excited to have Nick Newman on the drives. So if you are a birding fanatic, I would definitely recommend going and watching the live safaris this afternoon and tomorrow. Maybe Nick will discover some new species on Juma. Awesome birding, I'm sure, is going to be underway. Super jealous. I would love to be on the drives with Mr. Nick Newman exploring the birds of Juma. So Pete Pangtelli. All right, let's head over to Tower Lodge and see what's happening at Tower Lodge. We've got lovely scenery here, some elephants. Just as I mentioned yesterday, we had all these elephants here, waist deep, chin deep in the mud, feeding on all this lush green reeded vegetation that's down by the water. Nice to see that today some waterbuck and warthogs have also joined in the buffet. So I was just answering a question from Pete Pangtelli about the location of Nkoro Pan. So it is located in the Greater Kruger, northwestern part of South Africa. Northeastern part of South Africa, in the Greater Kruger. So that little pan normally had a hippo that was hanging out there. I'm not too sure if he's moved, but I definitely didn't see a hippo now. So maybe he's moved to another pan. But this is a lovely scenery here. You can see it's very dusty here in Tower Lodge. Very hot day. See a bit of dust being blown in the background there. Lovely to see these warthogs, waterbuck, and elephant all together feeding. So we had another question also from Pete Pangtelli. Sorry if I mispronounce your name there. Asking about the aging of elephants. So yeah, generally, especially with elephant bulls, you can generally tell the age of the bulls depending on kind of their size, the tusks, and also a lot can be told in the foreheads of a lot of elephants. So like I was watching documentaries yesterday about some female elephants that were very old. So the more sunken in the kind of skin gets on the head, kind of the better you can gauge how old they are. With little babies, you can gauge the age of a baby elephant depending on the height, in comparison to the mother's height. So if baby elephant is just below the mother's belly, so it's anything between 10 months to a year, so just under a year. Once it hits the same level as the mother's belly, generally that's somewhere around 11 to 12 months. And again, as it grows older, you can generally tell the age. Once it's kind of reaching her elbow or her shoulder blade there, then it's hitting about 4 years. And then kind of that's a very good gauge to measure the age of an elephant. But yeah, big elephant bulls, you can often tell their age depending on their body size. Tusks are a very good indicator. And again, any kind of, yeah, the condition of an elephant can be a very good giveaway sign on their age. I've seen a lot of very old elephants that yeah, you can tell they're very sunken in the hips and kind of on their backbone, on their ridge, foreheads looking a little bit, yeah, you can see they have definitely lived quite a decent life. So, general age span or lifespan of elephants is anything between about 50 to 55 years of age. And the oldest elephant that I know was, I think, 62, but that was an elephant that was in captivity. So they can live up to 62 to 65 years of age in captivity, but generally in the wild, your elephant bulls are kind of really starting to peak in their maturity at about 40 years of age. And yeah, anything between 55 to 60 years of age is when they generally will die in the wild due to their teeth actually wearing out. Elephants actually have 6 sets of teeth, 4 molars within their lifespan, and it's actually quite cool how the elephant's teeth operate. So it almost works on a bit of a conveyor belt system. So the teeth, once they start getting worn away, actually push up from the back and push forward and come out, and the next set of teeth actually come out. So when an elephant is on its last set of teeth, that's generally where it really struggles to feed, needs to eat softer vegetation, and that's when they will generally move to areas with much softer vegetation like rivers or riverbed areas, swampy areas where the vegetation is very soft. And this is where the whole theory of an elephant graveyard comes into play. It's not necessarily one place where all the elephants come to die at the same place. It's just the soft vegetation that attracts these old elephant bulls that don't have much teeth left, and that's where they generally end up passing away. I have heard been next to an old female elephant and actually heard her chewing, and I feel like she didn't have much of her teeth left. Oh, shame! I've never seen such an old elephant before. So, again, some elephants, it can be difficult to age because you do get some elephants that are a lot smaller in body size compared to others, maybe malnourished. Obviously, orphaned elephants generally don't get as much nutrients as they need, so they can become a bit stunted in their growth. So those elephants can be a little bit difficult to age. But this female was, yeah, shame. She was a very old female elephant, must have been close to 60 years of age, and yeah, she was really struggling to chew. Her ears and skin was all so dry that her ears were actually curling backwards. You can see the cracks and creases in her ears there, and yeah, she looked like she had many stories to tell. Oh, look at this elephant bull. He's giving himself a nice bath. So we actually had a pretty weird sighting here yesterday, I must say, at Tower Lodge. We had 3 crocodiles that were, at first I thought it was some sort of mating display, but upon further investigation, we decided it could have been some sort of turf wars between 3 male crocodiles. You can see with all this water drying up, there's not much space here. So I think the crocodiles were just kind of fighting for space. But it was a very strange sighting, I must say, to see these 3 crocodiles all roly-polying around each other and bundled up on one another. Yeah, I must say it was not. It was definitely my first strange crocodile sighting I've had on the live at the waterhole. Wasn't quite sure what was going on there. And this is one of their favorite elephant mud bathing spots. Check out these guys having such a good time in this thick, dirty mud. I'm not one for mud bath myself. I'd much rather have a pool party, elephant pool party, to have a good swim. But these elephants just love this thick, dark mud. Nice insect repellent and sun cream for their skin. So thank you for your comment, Lady Macbeth. Apparently, Elephant Voices has a good guide on aging of elephants, but it is very quite variable. Yes, I will agree with you there, Lady Macbeth. As with a lot of things in animals, there's so much we are still learning and don't know, so it can be very difficult to get an exact age on elephants or any animals for that matter of fact. So I always like to say the word approximately becomes your best friend when you're a guide because it's hard to give an exact age. You can kind of guess by experience, but it's quite difficult to get an exact age on elephants. But there are a lot of really interesting papers out there that do help us to kind of get a better judge on the ages of elephants. Alrighty, well, why don't we head across to King's Camp and see what else we have waiting for us at King's Camp? So it looks like it's an elephant day all around. Seems like we have got another elephant pool party here in King's Camp in the Greater Kruger National Park in northeast South Africa. Must be a rather hot day for the elephants are coming out for a swim. So just a bit more of an update on our locations from our safaris from the morning. Shame it seems like Steve did get some rain in the Eastern Cape, so I was kind of on point, and there was some rain in South Africa, and I do believe we are in for some more cold weather. I hope it's not going to be a freezing cold weekend. I was not planning to be indoors again for another weekend. We had a rather freezing weekend last weekend in South Africa, some areas even having snow. Oh, check out this elephant. He's just so cute. He's completely on his side, lying down, blowing bubbles with his trunk. And yeah, I got some pretty cool videos of elephants in the snow. So it's crazy. On Saturday, Sunday, last weekend, there were some people that actually went out on safaris, on game drives in the snow, and there were some videos from Nambiti Lodge in KwaZulu-Natal in the Drakensberg area with elephants in the snow. I must say, I was not expecting to see that. I mean, I know Aquila Game Reserve just outside of Cape Town. They do have elephants there, and I've seen pictures of elephants and rhinos in the snow in Cape Town, but was not expecting KwaZulu-Natal to have snow this time of year. Oh, must have been absolutely freezing. Can you imagine being on a game drive in the snow, watching elephants, surrounded by white snow? Thank goodness we're having lovely warm weather so that we can have a great elephant pool party today at all of our locations, it seems. So, Pete Pang Telly, thanks again for your comments. Really appreciate you joining us on the show today. Yeah, so elephants, they generally mostly this grayish color, and yes, it does serve quite a few purposes. Our camouflage is one very good purpose, that they have this a dark gray coloration. I tell you, elephants do blend in very well to their surroundings and the environment, even in the green season. It's amazing how some animals, oh, check out this little one. This is a sub-adult, probably about 4 to 5 years of age, this little one that's completely submerged in the water. So yeah, elephants have this specific coloration to help them blend into the environment. Even in the green season, elephant goes and stands in the shade, and you can barely even see them at all. Oh, a little bit of attitude there, a bit of sass. Don't get close to this little guy's mud pool. He's just having a great time. So, another purpose for this coloration of elephant skin is obviously to protect them from the sun. If elephants had lighter, paler colored skin, they would be very much susceptible to skin cancer. So I do know you do get, there is a gene, again, it's a recessive gene in elephants where they are prone to getting pink trunks. It is a gene. I think it's more common in the Indian elephants, and I have seen it quite common also in forest elephants, very rare in the savanna bush elephant, where elephants actually have pink trunks. But yeah, those pink trunks of theirs does make their skin very susceptible to the sun and sun damage. So yeah, the elephants, just like many other animals, are specially developed and designed in order to blend into their environment after many years of evolution. Isn't it crazy if you think how long these elephants have been on this earth? So, Lady Macbeth, I believe it was also snowing when you visited Islandawa this weekend. Dwana? Isildwana, sorry, my bad pronunciation there. On the weekend. Oh, no, I can't believe. And yeah, I did see a snow alert on my phone came up today. So I was like, no, I hope it's not going to be another cold weekend. I didn't mind one weekend being all snuggled up inside, but definitely want to be outdoors as much as possible. I can't handle being stuck inside. So I hope that we have a sunny weekend across all of South Africa this weekend. Oh, look at this baby stepping on the other one's head in the water. I guess there's not much love lost between those two. They must be siblings or kind of similar, very similar age. It's probably, you can see here, it's probably these two matriarchs with their youngsters. So, yeah, quite awesome to see a family herd of elephants just enjoying this pan. So these are the young, cheeky little bulls that you do have to watch out for sometimes. They have all the confidence that their mothers have. Well, a lot of confidence because if anything goes wrong, they know that their mommy will be behind to protect them. So they can be a little bit cheeky sometimes, but they very quickly retreat when you tell them who's boss, put them in their place, then they all of a sudden get a bit of a fright. Oh, they're not afraid of me. Oh my goodness. And they run back to their mothers. So yeah, they're full of nonsense. So much energy. A lot of life lessons to learn. Heard some elephants trumpeting in the background there. So, of course, what's better to have a nice little munch after enjoying the watering hole? Luckily for these elephants, they still have a bit of vegetation around this pan here to feed on, and you just see elephant bottoms. So it's quite interesting with a lot of drought seasons. So elephants do often adapt to feeding on different vegetations during the dry season. This is kind of an adaptation which allows them to be able to survive for so many decades and to have lived and roamed this earth for such a long time. Catherine, thanks for your information about the elephants in the snow. Pretty crazy to hear about the Asian elephants rolling snowballs with their trunks. Quite unusual, I must say. Yeah, not something you think you're going to see on safari. An elephant in the snow. Taylor, good question. So, what is the strangest elephant behavior that I have seen? Good question. I must say, savanna elephants or the African bush elephants are a lot more predictable to me. A lot more of the behaviors, kind of, again, wildlife does everything, does things every day that kind of every now and then just completely confuses you. But yeah, generally they're a lot more predictable in their behavior. I must say, probably the strangest behavior I've seen would definitely be in forest elephants. They're a lot more unpredictable, a lot more unstudied. We know so little about them. So, probably forest elephants, their general behavior and reactions and responses when it comes to being around people. So, with your savanna bush elephants, a lot of these elephants have come into contact with people. So they generally don't react or respond much when interacting with people. So I think the strangest elephant behavior would have to be the first couple of times I bumped into forest elephants. So forest elephants generally have only three responses when it comes to bumping into humans. They either are completely petrified and run away. Obviously, there are much sought after forest elephants for their tusks. And in a lot of areas in West Africa have been poached to the point where they are a vulnerable species. So most elephants don't have forest elephants don't have good experiences with humans. So either they run away from you in complete fear, and that is yeah, it's quite a crazy thing to see. Once the forest elephants pick up on your scent, it's almost like when the wind blows the smell of a human towards a forest elephant. It's almost like the smell just hits them in the face, and they just turn around and run away. So that's one of the responses. The other response can be a negative response, which is just pure hatred and anger for people, and they just turn around and they just chase you. And then the third response is again a lot of time and effort spent working with elephants, trying to calm them down and get them used to people. So when I first went to Congo and was working in West Africa, it was very rare to have elephants not responding to people. But by the time I left there, after almost 3 years working in West Africa, we had managed to kind of acclimatize quite a lot of the resident elephants to us and to people and being on foot, to the point where we would have some elephants not barely responding to us and just kind of being alert and aware, but not running in fear and not chasing and charging us. So that was a very positive thing that I saw, the change in behavior there of some forest elephants. So, Sanjeev Roy, thank you for your comment about elephants and not being bored if we have elephants close by. Definitely always interesting watching elephants interact, feeding, and just going about their day. All right, why don't we go across to Tembe? And I'm hoping we find some more elephants having a mud bath over in Tembe. Lovely scenery of these elephants, and more elephants in Tembe. It's an elephant day all around today. Definitely a thirsty Thursday for the elephants. Also got some impala that have come down to the watering hole to have a bit of a afternoon graze around the pan here. Got some two elephant bulls having a bit of a jousting competition between one another, and we had quite a cool elephant pool party slash mud bath happening yesterday, right 12 o'clock of the screen, right in the middle of the screen here. Quite cool to watch some elephants getting into the mud there, and yeah, interesting behavior, of course. I wonder if we're going to see our woolly neck storks today. We had two woolly neck storks and quite a few Abden storks also. I mean, sorry, woolly neck storks that were also here yesterday, roaming around. The woolly neck storks looked like he was feeding on some insects on the ground, possibly. Oh, lovely to hear those masked weavers also calling. They've been busy in one of the a few of the trees around this pan here, Tembe. Males will be working away, building their nests. Let's have them listen for those masked weavers. There's a new watering mud wallow the elephants have found here, and we've got our little floppy-eared friend is also joining us. So he's quite a frequent resident bull that seems to visit the pan here at Tembe quite often. So he's in the background there. You can see his left-hand ear is a little bit floppy. Yeah, interesting to see with the water levels dropping, how these elephants form all these new little mud wallow spots, which the warthogs and buffalo are always very grateful for. The elephants open them up for other species to come and also enjoy wallowing. So I actually learned a new fact about elephants yesterday, which is pretty cool. It's quite difficult to find new facts about elephants. So obviously in this area we also saw some palms down by the watering hole here at Tembe. So those are the Ilala palms or wild date palms. And these palms are actually, they grow big enough, grow the fruit. It's one of the very preferred fruit that elephants love to feed on. And I didn't realize that the elephant bulls, I know elephant bulls generally rattle that palm tree to get those fruit down, but the elephant bulls will generally rattle enough fruit down, not just for themselves, but also for other breeding herds that are in the area. So it's quite cool. They kind of do a bit of their community service. The big elephant bulls use that monstrous weight of theirs in order to rattle down the alala palm fruit, and the other breeding herds will also come in and feed on the fallen fruit. So it's pretty cool how this happens. It's not just with the palms, a lot of tree species as well. Elephants might start feeding on a tree, some branches, pull down the branches from very tall overhanging trees that some species might not reach, and then you get other antelope species that might come in and feed after the elephants have done with their meal. It's kind of all part of the circle of life, and one species kind of helping and, yeah, communally feeding with the other. Here's our woolly neck stalk in the middle of the impala there. It's lovely to see a bit of greenery here in Tembe. They must have got some nice late rains, which really helped to send through a flush of greenery, because, yeah, some of our locations at the moment are looking rather dry. Love seeing these big elephant bulls interacting with one another. Sometimes you think they're going to fight with each other, but they seem to get on pretty well, these big bulls. So there's the palm trees I was just speaking of. You can see the little palms. They look very similar to the Mexican flat-leafed palm. And these are small wild date palms, or sorry, small Ilala palms that were probably also germinated here and brought here by elephants. So these wild date palms, amongst many other uh, tree species, are only germinated if they go through the digestive system of an elephant. So I like to call them, they're like the gardeners of the bush, elephants. As they feed and disperse seeds all over Africa, this is how they help to contribute to the ecosystem so that trees can grow in different areas. All right, let's go see what's happening over in Namibia. Let's check out Old Donyo. Sorry, we're over here in Old Donyo, over in Kenya. And we've got two beautiful big elephant bulls. So let's check at these tusks. It's got really impressive tusks, this bull on the left. And we've also got our little plated lizard. A special lizard that occurs in Kenya. I think I saved him somewhere. Nice to see our helmeted guinea fowl are still here, as well as some zebra. This little lizard seems to love this spot. He always kind of hangs out here. I think it is known as the rainbow agama or the red-headed agama, and it is one of the most colorful reptiles in Africa. You can see it kind of varies from this orange to blue and even green in the tail. So he was just doing a little mating display there. It's quite cool. They do almost like a push-up. It's a little mating display to attract the females. One elephant on the right seems to be having a bit of a lazy trunk day. Let's have a listen to those helmeted guinea fowl calling. What a lovely sound. Perfect sound of the African bush. So this area is a perfect habitat for these guinea fowl. You generally see them around watering holes. Perfect place for them to spend some time while feeding in these open areas. A lot of grass seeds around here. It's perfect for them. And of course, great that it is near a water source. Guinea fowl can actually fly, although they are not great at flying, but they can actually fly. And we were talking about leopards and what leopards like to kill. So I've often seen leopards killing guinea fowl. So again, another preferred prey species for a young leopard that is still learning the ropes of what it is like to be a leopard. Looks like we've got some starlings or possibly some ring-necked doves coming to have a drink at the watering hole as well. We had a jackal popping in the other day. That was pretty cool to see. Little black-backed jackal. So Pete Pung Telly is asking about night safari. So yeah, I've often done night walks and game drives at night. So I've done forest night walks in areas which is safe to walk at night with clients. Having a look for bioluminescent fungi. It's always epic to find some little bioluminescent fungi in the forests. You take a little scorpion torch with you is always very useful. You can use that to also pick up on your bioluminescent fungi. Found a lot of bioluminescent insects, bioluminescent frogs before. Star pointers always useful. Sorry, folks, it seems like we had some more challenges with our camera there over in Old Donyo. We were just talking about night safaris and what you can see on a night safari. So all your little nocturnal mammals coming out. You get a lot of galagos coming out, the little night apes or bush babies. Star pointers always pretty useful. You can stop and do some stars in open areas. And yeah, I just love sitting. How you can find some of this bioluminescent fungi is you need to do it when it is new moon, so when the moon is not too full, so you have complete darkness. You sit with all the lights off for a few minutes and acclimatize your eyes to the darkness, and then yeah, in very specific special places in West Africa, if you are lucky enough to find some bioluminescent fungi hidden in all the very thick swampy vegetation, that's also pretty epic. Owls, pretty cool to find some owls at night. And then, of course, if you're doing a night drive, you could have chances of seeing hyena, jackal, maybe a pangolin or two if you're very, very lucky. Although, yeah, and pangolin's probably the best time is around dusk or dawn. Porcupine, and of course, all your nocturnal species, lion, leopard. You do get some antelope as well, but generally, yeah, we don't like to disturb antelope while they are resting at night. But yeah, night safaris can be quite exciting, especially if you have a hyena den close by. I've had pretty cool night drives uh, with hyenas. Let's watch this elephant bull. He's obviously super hot and he's been looking forward to enjoying a nice cool down in this mud. Oh, this mud must be rather stinky, I must say. Lots of elephants in and out of there, but it really helps to cool down their body temperatures and protect their skin from insects and the sun. So you can see why the elephants are so desperate to get into the mud. Lovely big elephant bull, isn't he beautiful? Some profile calling in the background there, and looks like our little, is it our moorhen has come to join in this mud party here. Haven't seen much of our crocodiles today. I wonder where they've gone off to. All right, let's head back over to Nkoro and see what's waiting for us at Nkoro. Oh, we've got a beautiful, big, handsome male giraffe that looks like he's nervously coming in to have a bit of a drink. Wonder if there's any lions or anything in the area that he's skeptical of. Nice dark coloration as well. I know a lot of people believe that only male giraffe can be nice and dark in color, but I have seen a few dark females as well, so it can be associated with age, not just necessarily in males, but also in females. And also, again, it's all about the amount of melanin that is in their skin. So just like you get some people with lighter skin and darker skin, the same goes with giraffe. You do get giraffe with darker patches and lighter patches. I'd love to see that reticulated giraffe up in Kenya. Very interesting patterns, very beautiful in color. Let's see. Hello, big boy. Are you coming down for a drink? Definitely checking something out. Wondering. Giraffe can be quite skeptical when coming down to a watering hole. They do make themselves quite vulnerable when they bend down like that and do the yoga giraffe pose. Downward dog giraffe doesn't give him much advantage. That's a perfect time when a predator could come and sneak up on a giraffe, and he wouldn't really be able to do much about it. So they do have to be very wary before going down to a watering hole. I wonder what has happened to our happy hippo that was in this pan. Shame, he was quite an old looking boy, I must say. All right, well, I don't know if our giraffe is coming down for a drink, but why don't we head across to Cape Town, it's to Stony Point, and see what we can find in Stony Point. Oh, we got some little hyraxes here. I must say, I love watching these guys stick in there. Quite unusual little creatures, I must say. They normally have hyraxes or rock darcies. They don't look. Rock rabbits is another nickname. These two males are obviously oh, male and female, obviously procreating. Let me check what is the gestation period of a hyrax. They generally only okay, well, this definitely seems like a sign of dominance between males. Must be mating seasons generally must be upon us if all these males are getting a bit testy one another. And this other hyrax is just lying here on the side, not interested in any of this nonsense. Gestation of a hyrax, shucks, it's actually quite a long gestation period. It's about 7 to 8 months. That's a very long time. So the female will generally give birth to anything from 1 or little pups, baby hyraxes, known as. These are definitely two males, and yeah, definitely trying to figure out who is the ruler of the roost. They usually give birth around the same time, once per year, and infants are born with little ears and ears and eye openings, which they can open after about an hour of giving birth. There could be some parental guidance advised here. These two boys are being a bit rowdy. Rather strange for her, such a long pregnancy for such a small little creature. It's the same gestation period as a hippo. If you think of baby hippos, when they're born, can weigh anything between 10 to 15 kilograms. Oh, we have another little lizard friend joining us here, folks. Have a look on the left-hand side of the screen. Looks like another little lizard of some sort. I wonder if it's also an agama. Blending in very well to the rocks there, I must say. It's perfect habitat for these little hyraxes. They do like areas, rocky outcrop areas that do have some sort of savanna or shrublands around. They can occur in quite deserty areas. Oh, there's a little lizard going. Probably like a little gama or plated lizard of some sort. There are 3 different hyrax species, and I have actually seen the tree hyrax in West Africa. It makes a dreadful sound, I must say. They hang out in trees reaching from 30 to 50 meters tall. So they do hang out in very, very big trees, and very, very rare to actually see them. So I've only ever possibly seen one once. They almost look like a part of the tree. So high up, it's very difficult to see them. So Catherine, yeah, I agree with you there. Very cute little fluff balls, but I think it is 2 males that are dominance displaying amongst each other. Yeah, they were kind of, yeah, both looked like they had male sexual organs. It does happen quite a lot in the animal kingdom, where even with elephants, you will see 2 male elephants sometimes mounting one another, and of course, this is a way of being dominant over each other, which is probably what we saw yesterday with that very strange crocodile interaction. But yeah, these fluff balls are pretty cool. So with the tree hyrax, which is quite different to the rocks hyrax, so these rock hyraxes can be in little family colonies of anything between 5 to 30 individuals, all in a colony in a little cliff rock area. There's a difference with the tree hyraxes is because they kind of live in such high and remote trees and certain specific areas. You'll have one male that will generally have 3 to 4 females within his very small home range of anything between 1 to 2 kilometers square. And he has a very loud, almost sounds like a baby crying shrill that he makes at night in order to announce his presence as a territorial call, and also to try to find his females. So generally, this male will visit his females within his territory anything between 1 to 3 times a week, if possible, depending on how far apart they all are. But it's crazy to think of these hyraxes living up in a tree of 50 to 50 meters. Isn't that crazy? I remember seeing a guide for the first time, hearing one of these hyraxes. We were in a guerrilla meeting in the middle of the forest, and there was a new guide that hadn't heard the tree hyraxes before, and the sound started calling. And again, like I said, it sounds like this guttural sound of a baby crying, and this guide's face almost completely drops, but he was more surprised that no one was doing anything because he thought someone was being killed. It was just strange sounds. So it can make very strange noises. Although these hyraxes, here the rock hyrax, I don't know that there's a call that they actually make. Very interesting little colonies that they have. The lifespan of a little hyrax like this is anything between about 4 to 5 years of age. Generally, the average age span of a little hyrax is about 4 years. So very high in fat content. So I know a lot of different cultures throughout Africa, this is very much a sought after meal because of the high fat content. But they are of least concern, so they are not endangered or anything. And as you can see, this little hyrax has got very sharp little front incisors, which he uses to feed and cut grass, and that's how they can feed very quickly. but they don't actually need to feed all day. They only spend a small portion of their day actually feeding. Right, why don't we head over to Patai Pan and see what else is at our locations? Looks like we have elephant parties, pool parties, mud parties at all of our locations today. Isn't this a lovely elephant mud bathing day on this thirsty Thursday? Nice to see a very good contrast of elephants. Nice elephant bulls, breeding herds. At all of our locations have been nice to see, not just elephant bulls, but also small breeding herds. We possibly do have one or two elephant bulls on the left here, and then it looks like a breeding herd on the right. You can see there's not much greenery or vegetation around here, so these elephants will probably have to walk quite a distance before they find their next meal. Hope we have some warthogs coming. It was nice. It would be nice to see some warthogs also having a bit of a mud bath. And when I was last at Mabula, we were also dying to um, see some rhinos having a mud bath, but we were just a little bit too late for the rhinos. Excited to have Mabula back on the live drive soon. I believe we gonna have Trishala will be heading to Mabula pretty soon, and Cameron. So I know they'll be excited to be sharing a new location with you guys. So yeah, I know a lot of people have missed the sightings at Mabula, so really excited to see what epic sightings they have. So wishing them all the best to Trishala and Cameron for their next stint over in Mabula. I hope they get some pretty epic sightings, maybe some cool brown hyena sightings as well. We didn't manage to get the odd wolf while we were there, but I'm pretty happy with the cheetah, wild dog, and brown hyena sightings that we had. There were definitely some lifer sightings there that I don't think I'll be seeing anytime soon, so I was super grateful with what we did get. Ooh, got some starlings coming down, also roaming around, so a lot of disturbance in these areas around the pans, a lot of dung, a lot of yeah, food for all the birds, lots of insects being attracted to the watering hole. So great place for the birds to come feed. Have a fork-tailed drongo that just came kind of swooped down over the pan, also having a nice afternoon drink. So it's quite cool. You'll see the drongos. They will often follow a lot of the big predators. I mean, prey species like elephants or buffalo herds and swoop up and feed on any of the insects disturbed while these big mammals are moving through the grass. Right, let's give the old Donyo camera another try and see what's waiting for us over in Kenya. Got a dazzle of zebra here that have also joined our thirsty elephant on this thirsty Thursday. Looks like a bit of a pregnant mare or pregnant female zebra. Oh, and we still have our lazy trunked elephant friends. We had this elephant bull that was here earlier, also with a rather lazy trunk. Mercedes Ben, thank you for your update on the lions calling overnight here at Old Donyo. Would have been perfect if we had a lion kill here, maybe lions killing some of these zebras. Yeah, imagine seeing a live kill on live at the waterhole. Pretty epic. But yeah, 1 ton still hasn't been seen for quite some time. I've only actually seen 1 ton once on the camera before, but I know the other day Amy was also asked if 1 ton has been seen recently, and I think he's around doing what elephants do best, just roaming and feeding and drinking and roaming. Mrs. Jason Voorheesy. I hope that you manage to get to South Africa one day, and I think 1 month is enough. I mean, South Africa is a huge country, but I think 1 month is definitely a good start to exploring South Africa and seeing what is out there. Sorry, folks. Our feed is very unstable in Oldonyo, but we are back here in Tau Lodge in Madikwe Game Reserve watching our big elephant bulls. Oh, this is such an epic sight to see these elephants like chin deep in the mud. Like imagine their bodies are fully in the mud. It's not much water there. You can see they have a lot of difficulty moving around, but they are after this nice green vegetation. So there's another bull also on the left here. You can just see the tip of his trunk every now and then and a bit of his tusk. We have a one-tusked elephant bull also on the other side of the pan there, and some warthogs have also come to enjoy in the feeding frenzy. Yeah, Mrs. Jason, I must agree with you there. South Africa, I mean, even Zimbabwe. So I'm originally from Zimbabwe, but of course I'm based from South Africa now, but I do spend a lot of time still in Zimbabwe. In both countries, I have done a lot of traveling, obviously, throughout my lifetime through both of the countries, but there's still so much to explore. I mean, South Africa has so much diversity in all the different provinces that we have here in South Africa. There's so much to see, so many different kind of environments. Anything from Cape Town, the winelands, the penguins, and all the beautiful scenery that you can see in the whales, whale watching in Cape Town, all the way up to the more dry regions like here in Tau, Madikwe, all the elephants and wildlife. There's actually 9 provinces in South Africa, and it is one of the most diverse countries in the world when it comes to kind of habitat in different environments. I mean, it's crazy. Like right now, who was it? I think in the Eastern Cape. Yeah, I mean it's pretty warm and sunny day here in Johannesburg, but I know in the Eastern Cape it is rather cold still. The Drakensberg area is still rather chilly after the snow that they had. So there's so much to explore in South Africa, so many beautiful regions. And then, of course, yeah, you're heading to the Northern Cape along the ocean coastal regions there, maybe some brown hyena. Oh, so there's just so much to explore in South Africa, let alone in Africa, let alone in Zimbabwe, Botswana. Just so much adventure to be had. And that's only Africa. Imagine going to Switzerland and climbing those mountains and heading over to Europe. A lot to do in the UK as well. Australia, New Zealand. Oh, lots of adventure waiting out there for all of us. So you see what this elephant is doing. It's actually cleaning that vegetation as he's ripping it up in order to remove the soil and sand, because if elephants eat too much vegetation with a lot of sand, it actually acts as sandpaper, wearing away those teeth of theirs, which is not very good because they need to protect their sets of teeth in order to have a longer lifespan. It's pretty much the same as yesterday. Lovely to see these elephant bulls back again. It's all elephant bulls that are here. I hope that these crocodiles don't get squished by the elephants moving through here. We haven't seen them at all today. I wonder where they are basking. So, Mrs. Jason, yeah, I agree with you. I was just wondering about those crocodiles, where they are. Just because we can't see them right now doesn't mean they're not about. So, I thought there was only two crocodiles that hung out in this pan, but apparently there actually can be up to four crocodiles. I've only ever seen three. Doesn't mean that they're not there. There's quite a big pan, so they might be kind of sun bathing or sunbathing themselves just around the corner, or also in this very thick mud that would be impossible to see them right now. So, Ian, very good question about what could wear down elephants' teeth. So, yeah, like I mentioned, if you have a look at these elephants, look how much mud that they're covered in, and have a look at the vegetation that's on this one's tusks. There's a lot of mud on there, a lot of sand. So, again, that's why you'll find often when elephants pull up vegetations, they'll kind of flick the roots around, trying to get off that mud and sand. So, that is one very big factor that wears down elephants' teeth, as well as obviously in the dry season, elephants do have to feed on a lot more hard vegetation, branches that they wouldn't necessarily have to feed on if they weren't struggling for food. So, yeah, in times of drought, dry season, they definitely teeth do wear away quite quickly. So, yeah, I'd say the mud and any sand that's in the vegetation, in the reeds that they might be feeding on, but even grass, dry grass that elephants are feeding on, if it is very coarse, that can also wear away at their teeth. And you'll find even dry grass, they'll sometimes use their foot to kick or to kind of remove any of the sand from the grass that they have pulled up with their trunks. Get rid of all that nasty sand. so that they can feed without damaging those teeth of theirs. Sand is a big enemy to elephants' teeth. It kind of sandpaper aways their like sand. It's almost like sandpaper on their teeth. What a lovely, relaxing Thursday afternoon. See this elephant's tail. Perfect fly swatter for swishing away all the insects and flies. There's also our black crake closest to us, two little black crakes, and our moorhen between the elephants and the warthog. So it can be quite difficult to tell the difference between these black crakes and the moorhens, but the giveaway for me for the black crake is always their tails. They are very bouncy little tails that don't seem to stop moving. So as they're moving about, the black crakes, they're a lot smaller than the moorhens, and their tails are always bouncing up and down. They look like they have some sort of disorder, maybe ADHD or Tourette's of some sort, because they are very hyperactive, always moving around, and that tail of theirs is always bobbing up and down, up and down. All right, why don't we go and check what's happening at Juma? Oh, it looks like we have another nice big giraffe, male giraffe, coming to join us today. We're at Juma Dam. Another windy afternoon. I'm sure the Juma team is preparing for the afternoon sunset safari, which I would really recommend joining with Nick Newman. He's going to be joining on the drive this afternoon, birding expert and the author of the Newman's Bird Book. So please, if you want to enjoy the company of Mr. Newman on Juma, I'd love to see what new birds he discovers. Look, this water bug better be rather careful. Getting stuck in the mud there. Make him a very easy prey for any predator that's in the area. So lovely to see a nice little herd of female waterbuck down here. This looks like some warthogs. I wonder what they're getting up to. And I know this road just behind the dam here, there's also a little colony of dwarf mongoose that are residing in a little termite mound there, which is always cool to sit and watch them. They poke their little heads outside of the termite mound holes. Very cute little beady eyes looking at you as you're driving past. Jim, I wonder how long this water is going to last here. Juma, probably going to be dry in a couple of months' time. See this dark big rock on the other side of the pan. There's probably a perfect rubbing spot for warthogs. Oh, got an impala just close to the camera here. I wonder what they're going to see this afternoon. Sometimes these windy days can be a little bit quiet while on safari, but other days they can be super successful because the predators will often use this wind and the fact that a lot of prey species can't hear too well to their advantage while hunting. Very dry. All right, let's head over to Naledi Dam and see what else is happening at one of our other locations. Oh, we got an elephant coming and having a good old drink here. Naledi Dam. Looks like a young bull. Shame he's probably been kicked out of his family group recently if he's not with the other family individual. So he's out there in the world learning how to be an elephant on his own. Okay, turtle doves coming down for a drink here as well. Wonder if we'd get if there was probably more thick vegetation around this pan. We might be lucky to get some bushbuck even coming down for a drink here. It'd be pretty cool to have a camera trap set up at this dam, I must say. I do enjoy doing camera trap surveys, lots of fun. See what nightlife is out and about. So Victoria's asking about if there's ever been a drought in this area. I'm not sure if she's speaking about the Olifants area or in the Sabi Sands, but yeah, so most areas, kind of in southern Africa, there's a drought pattern depending on the country and the area. Generally, every 5 to 7 years, there's normally 1 or 2 years of a bit of drought, um, and severe dryness. But yeah, a lot of areas this last year have not received much rainfall, so that's why it's so dry at the moment. In the middle of our dry season, next August, September, October are very prolific months, or very well known months for having quite hot conditions, very dry, lots of vegetation that's kind of lost its leaves, so not too much food for the animals. So yeah, I'm sure in a lot of areas this year it's going to be quite a bad drought. But yeah, generally the rain does hopefully arrives by end of November, early December in some of these areas in southern Africa, and brings with it new life, a birthing season, all the babies running around, which is always very exciting. Oh, this elephant, young elephant boy, is just having a really great time. Glad that he's seems to be okay by himself. Mrs. Jason Voorheesy, sorry again if I mispronounce your name. It's not a problem. Thank you for sending through all your questions and comments. Please feel free to always join in. It's great to have viewers with us, keeping our brains active and working and keeping us company while we're on these live at the waterhole sessions. Trying to listen to hear if we can hear any sounds of any birds, any bird life around us, but it seems to be pretty quiet at this location. No, we've often seen Mopani tree squirrels here. Perfect place for the hornbills. I think I've seen some red-billed hornbills here before, scurrying about in the elephant dung. think he's just playing around in the water now. It's pretty lucky to have this reservoir where they're obviously pumping some nice fresh water for these animals. Otherwise, he'd be drinking the muddy water that's behind him. Often elephants will always prefer to drink fresh, clean water over muddy water, so that's why they can be quite mischievous at times, breaking water pipes around camps or to the watering holes. He's very playful, this young elephant bull, isn't he? You can see his tusks are still quite undamaged, so he's obviously still quite small. Tusks are still quite strong, so obviously the older elephants get, sometimes their tusks can get quite brittle and do break quite easily. Something seems to have alarmed him a bit. You can see his trunk was up there. He was giving the air a good old sniff. Maybe he's gotten nervous of something around. Maybe some other bigger elephant bulls that he doesn't want to be in the presence of, or maybe lions. Oh, the wind is also picking up here at Naledi and Olifants. Seems to be quite a windy afternoon. The wind is also picked up here in Johannesburg, I must say. As all of a sudden it seemed quite windy. All right, let's head back over to Tau Lodge and see how our elephants are doing. Doesn't look like these elephants have moved too much, but I must say it must be quite tiresome for these elephants trying to fight their way through this mud. Oh, now warthogs. Have a look at these warthog having a good old scratch. So I must say it is quite entertaining watching warthogs scratch themselves after a mud bath. They really do get into it, trying to get into all those little crevices and itch and scratch all the itches they might have from the day. Oh, I've got some zebra have also joined us. Oh, hopefully this warthog's going to come and give himself a nice scratch on one of these logs close by. To get rather itchy, these poor warthogs. Quite dirty jobs they get up to, so need to have a good old scratch. Nice herd of harem of zebra. It's probably two separate groups of zebra that have come through today. Hopefully they don't get stuck in the mud. So, Valerie, I agree with you there. It's always lovely to see so many different species of animals all coming down to the watering hole to feed and drink. Um, no, at Aldania, it's a bit difficult at the moment with the water levels dropping. So, if there's a couple of elephant balls there, all the other animals have to wait their turn. It's quite nice here at Tau Lodge, a lot of little drinking spots, but the animals do need to be careful not to get stuck in the mud, just like our little baby zebra got stuck in the mud about, yeah, it's been about a week ago now. Luckily, he had some very life-saving rescuers that came to his rescue and pulled that little zebra out of the mud so that he could live another day. I hope he'll be more careful at the next mud wallow he visits. Seems like this elephant's done with his mud missions for the day. Elephants can be quite big bullies at watering holes, I must say. Can be quite nasty to other species, chasing everyone else away from the watering holes. Zebra as well can be quite aggressive, and you don't want to get on a bad side of a zebra because they have quite a nasty bite as well as a nasty kick. And our warthogs are also still around. Quite small tusks, these warthogs here at Tau. Miss M, yes, I agree with you there. I was quite worried about that poor little baby zebra because he was rather exhausted when we saw him. His face was dipping into the mud, and I thought, oh no, this does not look very good. He'd obviously been stuck in there for a few hours already, but thank goodness his rescuers came to his rescue and managed to get him out. But it was quite funny. He looked like a little baby rhino after they pulled him out of the mud. He was completely grey. And I think he was rescued just in time. Shame his poor mother didn't leave his side. She was just standing there. It was quite unusual. We thought it was a stallion, but eventually we realized it actually is a female. And the reason she was still there was because her little baby foal was stuck in the mud. So, yeah, a lot of the animals now need to be very careful. There was a waterbuck earlier at Juma that was being a bit risque, going too close in the mud there, but they're so desperate for water that they need to sometimes get a little bit too thick in the mud and then get stuck. It's not an ideal place to get stuck when there's a lot of hungry predators around. Oh, check out this warthog giving himself a belly scratch. Oh, this warthog, look at him. He's giving himself such a lovely scratch in the mud. Warthogs are so just unapologetically warthogs. Hazel, thank you so much for a lovely show. I hope that you have a fabulous day, and thank you again for watching. Sending through your questions and comments. You can see this warthog. He's got quite interesting whiskers here. Nice set of whiskers there. Those tusks are not that long, but does have a very white whiskers on the side of his head. Gotta love a warthog. Always full of energy and always up to something. Check out those whiskers. Looks like he's gelled them pretty well. Hey, Warthog. Alrighty, Phil. It has been an amazing time to be here live. With the rest of your thirsty Thursday. It was a great afternoon here. We'll having a coming down for a drink. Please don't forget to join in on the Sunset Safari to see Nick Newman on the drives doing some birding on Juma. From me and the rest of the Wild Earth crew, just want to say a big thank you. Enjoy the rest of your week and have a lovely day, folks.